Achievement. We promote economic empowerment through education alone.
It's 8 o'clock. Breakfast is being served at Ellen's downtown.
I'm Carla Leal, and this is your Spectrum News in 90. Texas is expected to use eminent domain to seize Fairfield State Park. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission voted unanimously to authorize the department to condemn the popular state park so it can continue to be used by the public. This comes after a months-long battle between the state and real estate developers over control of the land. And Governor Abbott signed a bill that will change the way community colleges are funded in Texas. Schools will receive funding based on student outcomes. It could be based on how many students graduate with a degree or certificate or transfer to a four-year university. Security will be tight ahead of former President Trump's arraignment Tuesday in Florida. Yesterday, federal indictments against Trump were unsealed.
We are going to turn our focus from the storms into a whole lot of heating. Sunday, talking about lots of sunshine, only a very slight chance of a storm or two. Otherwise, Monday, down just a little bit, some added clouds. But then day by day, we are talking about a whole lot of heat. I have your heat indices coming up.
Hello, and thank you for joining us here on Spectrum News 1. I'm Todd Boatwright. Well, since the end of Title 42, the number of daily migrant encounters at our southern border has remained low. According to Homeland Security, Border Patrol has seen about 3,400 migrants a day since May 12th. Now, that's fewer than the 10,000 daily encounters they had before Title 42 was lifted. Homeland Security officials say if and when more migrants start crossing the border, they are prepared to handle it. Now, there have also been several other changes at the border since Title 42 was lifted, which has caused some confusion for migrants looking to enter the U.S. legally. John Salazar explains how one group is working to fix that.
Que es más probable que no, que su gobierno va a dejar a usted ser torturado o matado.
This is Priscilla Horta, an immigration attorney who today utilizes a Facebook live stream to explain one of several ways to perhaps qualify for an asylum claim.
I think it's important because there's not a lot of information that's being directly given to them, and there's not a lot of people who are able to answer them.
Horta is a supervising attorney for Project Corazon under the nationwide Lawyers for Good Government, a nonprofit legally armed to provide assistance to migrants wishing to cross into the U.S. along the southwest border.
There's only a handful of organizations across the entire border who will even reach out to people in Mexico.
And here's a fraction of the people she's talking about. At this migrant camp in Matamoros, sister city to Brownsville, there's estimated to be more than 3,000 asylum seekers. But between here and Tijuana, Mexico, near San Diego, California, the U.S. government believes there are 60,000 more migrants waiting to get in. All seek legal advice from Americans because human traffickers or cartel are not honest in their dealings.
But there's just not a lot of information. And if we're going to combat whatever it is that coyotes are saying, or whatever it is that cartels are saying, or whatever it is that other folks are saying, you've got to give them some place to ask the questions.
Tenemos un video, yo voy a presentar la lista.
That place is online. Questions come from Mexico. The answers from a small office apartment in Brownsville.
Estamos intentando de poner junto.
Most people ask about the asylum process. Others about the CBP-1 app, used to get an appointment to cross at a southern port of entry. Horta says she hosts a Q&A online session once a week.
I'm happy to do it in Zoom, but we always follow up with an in-person.
La realidad de la situación es que más que nada probablemente lo van a mandar para atrás a México.
The well-attended in-person happens here in Matamoros, mere feet away from the Gateway International Bridge.
Si vas al puente, tienes que explicar qué pasó en México.
Horta says with new immigration rules in place and different interpretations of those new rules changing as quickly as night and day, she will stay on the border to inform the highly politicized and often marginalized population simply looking for truth and an avenue, possibly, to freedom.
So whenever I learn something new, be like, hey, I learned this will happen to you. I'll always update them. So we hope that it will continue.
Pero este está cambiando cada día. So si tengo noticias, yo les voy a decir.
Meanwhile, more states are answering Governor Greg Abbott's call to send troops to the border. The governors of North Dakota and Arkansas are deploying National Guardsmen to our southern border, joining at least 5 other Republican-led states that have also sent troops. Hurricane season is here, and forecasters are predicting a near normal season with about 1 to 4 major hurricanes that could possibly hit our coast. And experts say it's never too early to prepare. As Crystal Dominguez shows us, officials on the coast are reminding Texans when and how to evacuate.
This is our Emergency Operations Center.
Billy Delgado is the Emergency Management Coordinator for the City of Corpus Christi. This room is where agencies from across town come to monitor and respond to emergencies like hurricanes.
We want to make sure that the citizens get out of harm's way early on.
Evacuation zones can be seen on this map, so before a storm, residents can make it out safely.
We want to make sure the low-lying areas get out first.
Like Port Aransas, North Padre Island, and North Beach.
Based on storm surge, how big is the storm.
Evacuating the city in an orderly fashion to avoid traffic jams and chaos. Many residents typically head to San Antonio.
Everybody's going to take 37, so that 2.5-hour drive could turn into a 6 or 7 hour drive depending on the traffic. We suggest that you just look at the map, look at the routes, and pick which is safest for you.
Over at the Corpus Christi Regional Transportation Authority, they're preparing for a mock run-through using volunteers to practice pickups and drop-offs to shelters.
The RTA plays a very important role in evacuating the community.
One that has been recognized on the national level for emergency management and security.
90% of our customers actually do not have a vehicle, so they utilize us during the emergency.
Serving both the city and rural areas.
All bus fares are suspended, means anybody in the community can get on any bus.
Transferring folks to shelters and nearby cities with a fleet of 100 buses and 50 additional being handicap accessible. He says after Category 4 Hurricane Harvey hit in 2017, many lessons were learned, changing how they operate today.
There's flooding, we might have to terminate evacuating people. When there is wind sustained up to 35 miles an hour, we suspend the evacuation.
With a near normal hurricane season predicted, Delgado says to be ready in the event a storm surge hits the coastal bend.
Don't wait. If you feel you need to evacuate, please evacuate.
And coming up, a bill to expand mental health funding in schools stalled in the Texas legislature, but it's not stopping one student from taking action. We'll explain. And later, the San Antonio Alamo Dome is marking a milestone. We'll take a look at the arena's rich history and what's in store for the future ahead on Spectrum News 1.
Today at Zilker Park, where folks from across the state of Texas are coming together for this.
At Spectrum News, we're committed to our communities around the clock, delivering stories that inspire and news that matters in your community. Our journalists are dedicated to bringing you trusted, balanced local news every day. And now, Spectrum Internet-only customers, you can watch Spectrum News 1 on your TV, connecting you to your community 24/7. Spectrum News, now streaming, exclusively for Spectrum customers.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Texas holds a very special place in both my heart and my family's heart as well. My dad started in the news business in 1955, so my dad was my idol. He was my mentor. I spent so much time in that world. I knew I just had to be a part of it. My life's purpose has been about informing, educating, and most importantly, connecting with people. It has been my passion to help people and make a difference in people's lives. I'm Brett Shipp, anchor, Spectrum News 1.
Weather on the Ones, presented by Lentz Landscape Lighting.
Your big headline is the heat out there. Take note of what our area animals are doing. They're already in the water, cooling off here. You can see San Antonio Zoo. Let's follow that example by that tortoise. I think he's having a much better day. Just sitting under the faucet, not moving for hours. Look at the hippo. You can see at Fort Worth Zoo there, just drinking all the water and soaking in it all day long. Here's a look at alpaca. He just wants to kind of block it out. I think I'm going to take that approach. Let's go ahead and look at your headlines. We are looking very warm into our outlook, 8 to even 14 days out. So plan for that. Drier weather. We've had those afternoon thunderstorms, but it doesn't look like that is going to hold. The almanac shows that we should normally be around 97. We're going to start off in that zone, but then kind of move to the record-breaking heat possible by the end of the week. So here's a look at our gorgeous skies. We're going to have a lot of sunshine courtesy of WeatherStem there. If you look at the speedway throughout the day, tremendous heating. You can see barely a cloud into the skies, and we are talking about at least the upper 90s. Feels like temperatures will be up to 105 in some places, outlying areas just over 100. But this is the culprit. High pressure ranging on through, very strong as we take it into the Four Corners and headed up from Mexico. It will sit there, and unfortunately we will suffer just a bit. We're not looking at a lot of precipitation, very slight chance as we go into Sunday night. Into Monday, the chance is even lower. So very low, we're talking 10 to 20%. And you can see into your Monday 92 there. Hopefully that won't go up. We'll see into Tuesday 96, 99 for your Wednesday, then lots of triple-digit heat.
Well, many parts of Texas have seen their air quality dip in recent days, and that can seriously impact the health of Texans, especially those with asthma. Nicolette Perdomo shows us how.
Grayson Lamb loves to be outdoors playing football with his friends. He's quarterback for his flag football team.
When I'm running, I can't run as long as my friends.
Grayson has asthma and needs to take breaks sometimes.
So I'll just take a break and do a little breather, and if I have my inhaler and I need it, I'll take that.
Pediatric pulmonologist Dr. Preeti Sharma goes over some risk factors for developing asthma as a child.
Air quality and climate change and significant allergies are all contributing to the asthma symptoms that all people feel, but especially children who spend perhaps more time outdoors.
According to a recent report from the Environmental Protection Agency, climate-driven changes in air quality are estimated to increase annual cases of asthma by up to 11%.
With climate change, the winters were warmer and spring started earlier, and so just the pollen had more time to collect in the atmosphere. And so people are getting more asthma attacks.
Doctors say limiting the exposure to irritants can help, as well as paying attention to signs and symptoms.
Monitor your child for symptoms, and if there are symptoms, really follow that asthma action plan that's usually created by your healthcare provider.
For Grayson, he says the modifications he has to make won't stop him from enjoying the sport, despite a change in our environment.
I would never stop playing sports because of asthma. I would just, if I'm having trouble breathing, I would just go to my mom and get my inhaler and then take that and get right back to the game.
Meanwhile, a bill to expand mental health funding at public schools stalled in the state capitol. There'll be no change really unless Governor Abbott calls a special session to address it. That bill would give $100,000 to each school district for mental health resources. But one Central Texas teen isn't letting that stop him. JJ Maldonado shows us how he's creating an online platform where teens can safely talk about their feelings.
With me even, I grew up in like a lot of bullying environment at school.
Nicholas Smith has one goal in creating his own online platform, having a safe space for others to express how they feel and the problems they're facing.
I made the website The School Scene as kind of an innocuous way for like students in school to talk about their mental health without getting like bullied or feared that like they'll be talked about because they're expressing their mental health.
The teens' website, The School Scene, is a public space with a built-in forum for anyone to talk about issues relating to their mental health.
And social media can either be a good thing or a very bad thing. So I wanted to create like a social media site that, you know, so people can go on without seeing the negativity and toxicity of things that like happen in the real world.
According to the U.S. Surgeon General, kids under 18 who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media are vulnerable to face the risk of mental health problems, including depression and anxiety. Lisette Galvan from the National Alliance on Mental Illness Texas says teens are looking for ways to break the stigmas of mental health.
So even though social media can negatively affect mental health for our youth, it's also even opening up doors and having things like T-Chat and having other platforms that teens can access, help, or seek different remedies and how to cope with their different mental health conditions. Not everyone has a mental illness, but we are all affected by mental health.
NAMI Texas offers programs and services to people living with mental illness. Families may also talk directly with their child's school district for access to T-Chat, also known as Texas Child Health Access through telemedicine. Nicholas says his platform, whether accessed on a mobile app or computer, is geared towards benefiting his peers.
And then to read it and see that it's actually helping people and that people are finding a safe space to talk about like some deep things and they feel safe there without retaliation or being shunned upon or something, that made me feel really good. And I'm hoping that this site can continue to like help people.
And still ahead, meet a Texas woman who turns her creations into quilts, but you won't find these quilts in your grandma's attic. We'll show you after the break.
High temperature and 100-degree heat is starting to invade the state as we look at our highs. On your Sunday, lots of sunshine. We're not talking about too much rain. If we get any, it would be off towards our north and east. Otherwise, we will continue to see lots of clarity for the most part into our skies. As we look at your Monday, we are going to see the hundreds spread a little bit more and then take over this week. I have your complete outlook coming up.
I am most satisfied when I'm making a difference. I get to go to work every day and communicate with fellow Texans who understand that quality of life matters and the choices we make matter. And if they can trust me to share important information with them, then I'm a happy camper. I'm Dr. Nicole Cross, anchor for Spectrum News 1.
When you buy Spectrum Mobile for just $29.99 a month, you get a second line for free. So get one line for yourself and a free line for your devoted friend. Or you can get one line for yourself and one line for your kid. Sold. Or both lines for yourself. I use one for business and another for business. I do a lot of business. Get one line of unlimited for $29.99 and get a second line free for 12 months. Call, click, or visit a Spectrum store today.
He's the one who noticed his mom's face was swollen. They're the ones she confided in about her change in vision and headache that wouldn't go away. He's the one who really listened when she said that something just didn't feel right. Too many women die from pregnancy-related complications each year in the U.S. It doesn't have to be that way. Most deaths are preventable. Know the warning signs. Hear her concerns.
An answer to one of society's biggest questions may be found in the youngest minds. Does poverty impact a child's development, their performance in school? The hypothesis that mothers who have access to cash raise babies with stronger brain development.
The basis of the baby's first year study is really to understand whether providing economic support would change children's trajectories.
Exploring your health, budgeting for brain development, available on all your favorite devices.
A new report names Texas the second best state to start a small business. Capital on Tap ranked states based on the support and tax breaks business owners get. Florida took the top spot. Meanwhile, Texas is already home to millions of small businesses. Ashley Claster has more on an entrepreneur in North Texas creating something she says gives her life purpose.
A North Texas woman who has SYNGAP1, autism, and is nonverbal just started her own business.
Get set, go! Here she goes.
If there's one thing you need to know about Mabry, it's that she has endless amounts of energy.
She loves to be on the go. Loves, loves, loves.
She thinks taking selfies is hilarious. Mabry is 20 years old and lives in Prosper, north of Dallas. Her mom, Amy Gayhart, says she's one of the oldest patients in Texas living with SYNGAP1, a rare neurological disorder.
It's a gene mutation that causes autism, aggressive behaviors, kind of an adrenaline junkie. They're all love to go fast, like roller coasters and boats, and they just love that input.
Well, we got work to do, so Mabry's coming to help.
Amy's friends let Mabry come visit their farm to get that adrenaline out safely. Even after that, the positivity, happiness, and the energy is still there.
We needed to find something that she loved to keep her busy while we were just chilling. Because mom and dad get tired too, and sometimes it calls for just sitting on the couch and watching TV. Mabry's Busy Beads was born.
As of today, she's made more than 700 bracelets and keychains. People request a bracelet online, and she makes it and ships it. Instead of making a profit, she donates all of it to a local horse therapy ranch that works with people with special needs.
I don't know if she fully comprehends how big of an impact that she's making in the world. I'm showing that autistic, nonverbal, SYNGAP1, she has a purpose. She totally has a purpose.
A lot of us still have that handmade quilt Grandma made for us years ago. We put it on the bed, we even wrap up in it. But one Texas woman's quilts are made only for looking at. Check it out. Okay.
It's just a joy to come and sit here with hubby in the morning and have coffee.
Kathy Kennedy is talking about her flower garden, an oasis right in back of her home near Llano. She loves when these blooms turn into that picture-perfect moment.
See, this gets me so excited. So I'm constantly in the garden taking photos of flowers.
Her pictures like this turn into quilts like this.
This was my hibiscus plant last year. It died in the winter.
But because of Kathy's sewing skills, it'll live on as a piece of art, an art quilt, not just any quilt.
Your own creation, your own design, and it's a piece of art that hangs on the wall. When my daughter was little, I made a quilt on my sewing machine, and I didn't have any clue what I was doing. And after I got finished, I thought, that was awful. You know, I'll do this when I'm older and I have more time.
Many years and lessons later, she joined the art quilt craze. Kathy creates the design, sometimes using pictures she took in her garden, and turns it into a quilt.
You're creating a design with different pieces of fabric, just like you would with a paper collage, and you glue them or stitch them down into your design. After I get all these flowers done, I'll stick them all together, and hopefully that works, and then arrange them on the quilt where they go, where they look the best. I'm really a beginner. I'm just trying to figure out, you know, what I'm doing, but I'm really having a good time doing it.
All that work has paid off. These two quilts made it into the International Quilt Festival happening in Houston. The design on the right is from a painting her artist husband created.
I couldn't believe it. I was happy.
Kathy says creating quilts means a sense of accomplishment, whether they're on display at a big event or simply hanging at home.
And still ahead, it's never too late to pursue your dreams, right? We've got the story of some Texas senior citizens getting ready to start college after the break.
The decisions elected officials make really have an impact on all of us. A big part of what we do on Capitol Tonight is break down the issues so that they're easily understood. We want to bring you a better understanding of local issues and the local impact of national issues with relevant, in-depth conversations that provide context for Texans in a balanced and informative way. Capitol Tonight, weeknights at 7 on Spectrum News 1.
With Spectrum Mobile, your mobile speeds are already amazingly fast, but now they've developed Speed Boost. And it's only possible because Spectrum Internet, Advanced Wi-Fi, and mobile all work together. It's like speed on top of speed on top of speed, or like taking a shot of espresso, like this one. Woo! Then chugging an energy drink. Yeah! And then being shot out of a cannon. Let's light this candle. Change my mind. Change my mind, change my mind. Get fast speeds on your mobile devices with Speed Boost, only from Spectrum Mobile.
I worked in retail for 19 years.
I'm widowed, I'm middle age.
Working on the rivers, long haul trucking, that's all I've ever known.
I knew it was time for me to be there.
Now I'm a computer programmer.
And I'm a software developer.
I am a software engineer.
This is the future, I'd say.
A thriving community is an informed community, and being able to play a role in bringing people the news is something that I take very seriously. There's just so many things to love about the state of Texas. Southern hospitality, great food. I love that there are so many different cultures celebrated. I want people to turn us on in the morning and feel like they've got the information they need to go out and conquer their day. I'm Alex Stockwell, anchor for Spectrum News 1.
Weather on the Ones, every 10 minutes. Also available on the Spectrum News app.
Hello Dallas-Fort Worth, here's your Spectrum News in 90. The Dallas Symphony Orchestra is holding concerts in the park. The outdoor concerts are family friendly and free to attend. The next show will be on June 13th at Paul Quinn Park. For more information, you can visit dallassymphony.org. Ubalde families are suing the store and manufacturer that sold the Robb Elementary gunman his rifle. They're accusing the gunmaker of marketing and distributing, quote, unreasonably dangerous products. A state appeals court dismissed a Republican mega donor's lawsuit against former Texas Congressman Beto O'Rourke. Dallas pipeline billionaire Kelsey Warren sued O'Rourke for defamation after O'Rourke repeatedly invoked Warren during his failed 2022 bid for governor. The appeals court ruled Friday O'Rourke's comments were protected by the First Amendment.
We are looking at mostly clear conditions and pretty mild to begin the day. Almost 80 degrees by 9 a.m. and then look at it skyrocket. We will see gentle winds out of the west and southwest, but a whole lot of heating. So take those heat precautions. Highs will be into the upper 90s. We'll talk about those heat indices come day ahead.
Hi, welcome back. While some Texas students are soaking up the sun this summer, others are preparing for college orientation. That includes some older Texans. Here's Lupe Zapata.
I would like to learn a new thing every day. That's kind of my motto, learn one new thing every day, no matter how small it is.
Barbara Ingram is the kind of person who likes to share a good thing when she finds it.
I just can't tell y'all how wonderful it was to be back in school. I was so eager to learn.
Over the last couple of years, Barbara has become somewhat of a local celebrity in Dallas. Her claim to fame, she's 84 years old and back in school at the prestigious Harvard University.
I wanted to learn. I had a second chance to go back to college, and I took it, and I loved it.
She's here at 5-star Premier Residences in Dallas, a retirement community, to encourage her fellow seniors like Dorothy Burris to keep their minds sharp by going back to school.
The people we are meeting now at the different independent living are in the hundreds and sharp as a tack, and we're living longer.
As a former college professor, Dorothy knows a thing or two about staying sharp. She's 104 years old and attributes a love for reading to her strong cognitive health.
Everybody should read. In fact, when I was teaching, I recommended that all students spend an hour reading every day as part of their curriculum.
And Barbara has spent a lot of time reading over the last 3 years since she decided to go back to school. In 2020, she enrolled for online classes at Harvard as a way to fight pandemic boredom.
I don't think of myself as smart. I just try to be knowledgeable and learn and want to know a little bit about everything.
Barbara wants these seniors to know that in Texas, people 65 or older who are legal state residents can earn college credits for free. The Texas Education Code has a tuition reduction program where applicants could be exempt for up to 6 credit hours a semester at any Texas public college or university.
Just try it. That's all I can say. Don't talk about it, or don't have that feeling you want to do it. Do it. Give it a chance.
Yeah, we never stop learning. According to collegeevaluator.com, the average college graduation rate in Texas is about 53%, with the average student finishing their bachelor's degree in 6 years. Schools across Texas have seen a rise in graduation rates lately, including UT San Antonio. It nearly tripled its rate last year after creating a new model for first generation and also transfer students. San Antonio's Alamo Dome is celebrating 30 years as a staple in the city. It's a fan favorite for the Spurs and more. Jose Arredondo went behind the scenes to see what makes the venue so special. Check it out.
This shirt that I'm wearing is vintage from 1995, back when the Spurs used to call the Alamo Dome home. And for the last 30 years, it's done more than just that. It's created memories through graduations, concerts, all-star games, boxing events, while generating billions of dollars for the local economy. Steve Zito's office can tell you the 30-year story of the Alamo Dome.
It's, you know, if not the most diverse building in the world.
It's a facility he helped open back in 1993.
On May 29th, we had a sold-out Paul McCartney concert. So that was the first Final Four we ever had in 98. The largest indoor boxing crowd ever.
Steve currently serves as the Assistant Director of Convention Sports Entertainment Facilities at the Alamo Dome.
The Alamo Dome does for this community and for San Antonio, and we're just proud to be able to be part of it.
It was a project that had the city divided in the late 80s. As Henry Cisneros, the former mayor of San Antonio, who advocated for the Alamo Dome.
Very dramatic campaign, hard fought. It was 51-4, 49 against. The theory that a great city needs a great assembly facility was, I think, fundamentally right.
Since then, it's generated nearly $4 billion to San Antonio's economy. But the road to that wasn't easy, especially when Steve left to open the AT&T Center where the Spurs play and the FedEx Forum where the Memphis Grizzlies play.
And then I was asked to come back in 2017.
Despite hosting major events like the Alamo Bowl, the Alamo Dome developed a reputation for being an underutilized facility.
We had to change our culture. And our culture, really, it was simple. We called it one team.
The team's been on a white-hot run, hosting Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's XFL, the largest music tours in America, while shattering the attendance records for the WWE Royal Rumble and a single NBA game.
This is big time now. Whether we want it or not, we're going to grow. The Dome has already proven to be a success.
Steve says that success will continue if they just stick to their mission.
Everybody here has worked hard to make it a place where people want to come to.
Well, San Antonio could soon receive millions of dollars to upgrade the Alamo Dome. If Governor Abbott gives the final approval, the city will be able to take the state's cut of sales taxes from nearby hotels and use that to upgrade the stadium. Some experts believe that could amount to $200 million. Baseball season is in full swing, but for one Texas high school player, it's also the time of year for his other pastime. We'll explain that coming up.
Hey everybody, I'm Carla Leal. June is Pride Month, and as we celebrate the LGBTQ+ community, we're diving deeper into the struggles they face. On the next In Focus Texas, we'll hear from LGBTQ+ lawmakers and Texans fighting for equality across the Lone Star State, and we'll learn what's being done to create safe spaces to help them thrive. You don't want to miss it, so join us Sunday or set your DVR for all the details. I'll see you then.
Weather can be beautiful, inconvenient, and at times powerful. And it affects everything we do. At Spectrum News 1, our weather experts update you with the information and the context you need so you can better plan your day. And we do it every 10 minutes. We're the calm in the storm, Weather on the Ones on Spectrum News 1. And get your weather anytime on the Spectrum News app.
From coast to coast, you've seen us around. We live and work in the communities we serve. Our commitment runs deep. We're invested here, creating good jobs and supporting small businesses, many of which we're proud to call customers. You count on us to keep you connected to what matters most, and we're committed to delivering you the best internet, TV, and mobile service. We're Spectrum, connecting the places we all call home.
In quarantine and coming out of quarantine, we've been feeling pretty weird. Normal? What even is normal right now? We have the opportunity to define a new normal. I wrote weirdos to say that there is no normal anymore. Talk to someone and start the conversation.
Spectrum News 1 is Texas strong. It's not just the Friday night lights, the skies you need to see to believe. It's the people, the communities, the character. That's what makes us Texans. From our experienced boots-on-the-ground teams to a new perspective on the news that matters to Dallas-Fort Worth, we bring you the inspiring stories that leave a lasting impact across our communities. It's what makes us proud to call Texas home.
Your big headline is the heat out there. Take note of what our area animals are doing. They're already in the water, cooling off here. You can see San Antonio Zoo. Let's follow that example by that tortoise. I think he's having a much better day. Just sitting under the faucet, not moving for hours. Look at the hippo. You can see at Fort Worth Zoo there, just drinking all the water and soaking in it all day long. Here's a look at alpaca. He just wants to kind of block it out. I think I'm going to take that approach. Let's go ahead and look at your headlines. We are looking very warm into our outlook, 8 to even 14 days out. So plan for that. Drier weather. We've had those afternoon thunderstorms, but it doesn't look like that is going to hold. The almanac shows that we should normally be around 97. We're going to start off in that zone, but then kind of move to the record-breaking heat possible by the end of the week. So here's a look at our gorgeous skies. We're going to have a lot of sunshine courtesy of weather stem there. If you look at the speedway throughout the day, tremendous heating. You can see barely a cloud into the skies, and we are talking about at least the upper 90s. Feels like temperatures will be up to 105 in some places, outlying areas just over 100. But this is the culprit. High pressure ranging on through, very strong as we take it into the four corners and headed up from Mexico. It will sit there, and unfortunately we will suffer just a bit. We're not looking at a lot of precipitation, very slight chance as we go into Sunday night. Into Monday, the chance is even lower. So very low, we're talking 10 to 20%. And you can see into your Monday 92 there. Hopefully that won't go up. We'll see into Tuesday 96, 99 for your Wednesday, then lots of triple-digit heat.
Well, pickleball is the talk of the town no matter where you live these days. In fact, it's gotten so popular at a sports club in Corpus, they're adding more courts. Here's Crystal Dominguez.
Pickleball is gaining a lot of traction across the country, especially here in Corpus Christi, because at the athletic club, they're going to have to build another building to accommodate how many people are interested. You've heard of it, but have you played?
The very basics of pickleball is trying to win the point.
Pickleball is an old game with a new crowd.
This is how the game's exploding so much. Such a young crowd is getting involved.
Matthew Westmoreland is the director of pickleball at the Corpus Christi Athletic Club.
I probably taught over 1,000 people in the past 3-4 years.
He's one of the city's ambassadors promoting the racket sport.
There's probably a good 30 people that are really pushing pickleball here in our city.
Right now, they have about a dozen tennis courts lined with green tape, setting the perimeter for pickleball. But that's about to change.
We're actually going to start an indoor 8-court expansion here, air conditioned, because Corpus does get hot, it does get windy, so it's pretty tough to play pickleball.
With a groundbreaking party planned in 3 months for the club's $2-building, $4 million fitness expansion.
But we're putting a lot of money and dedication into the growth of pickleball here. The coolest thing I see is 3 generations of family being able to play.
Pickleball instructor Joseph Serta says his parents introduced him to the sport, and as a teen, he didn't think he'd be interested.
I thought it was silly because of the name. I didn't want to try it. But then once I started playing, it felt familiar, like all the sports I've been playing just fit into this one.
A combination of tennis, ping pong, and badminton with a solid paddle and a wiffle ball.
And when I first started working here 6 months ago, it's almost like it doubled in popularity. It's crazy how fast it's growing.
So I thought I would give it a shot. So this is a game that started in the 60s, but here we are, all different ages playing. Well, I'm trying to play. And just like that, they got me hooked.
This year's Pickleball National Championship is happening the second week of November in Farmers Branch near Dallas. The tournament is expected to bring in more than 25,000 fans and $10 million to the local economy. Meanwhile, a high school athlete in Central Texas is proving he's good at more than just baseball. He's showcasing his love of fishing with his family in their very own TV show. Here's Adam Rosso.
Like a lot of guys in Texas, Hudson Gardner loves baseball and fishing, and for the past few years, he's been balancing doing his work on the mound with spreading his passion for hunting and fishing.
As soon as I could start walking, my dad had a rod in my hand. Got one.
He's been reeling them in his whole life.
There's the first one right there, first cast.
Playing catcher on the shore while playing pitcher on the mound.
I've always had a dream of playing college baseball. That's always been my biggest goal.
Lake Travis lefty Hudson Gardner will achieve that goal next season. But what about his fishing dreams? Well, he's been living those out since middle school.
Oh, big fish!
The Gardner family started a fishing show called Rio Brothers. It showcases Hudson and his younger brother Cullen.
They were already doing a lot of hunting and fishing with their friends and with our family, so we as a family just decided, well, why aren't we capturing some of these wonderful places we're going to hunt and fish around the world?
Belize, Costa Rica, the Bahamas, and more.
How many fish are you gonna catch?
Off-the-charts experiences
More than you.
for two teenage boys.
The way people just live life is completely different than it is here, and I think that experiencing that through travel has been one of the coolest things to me.
They have learned a lot more, I think, from their adventures and their worldwide travels, probably more than they've learned in the classroom. Sorry to their teachers, but they really have.
Experiencing the outdoors in a way that few kids get to do.
Yeah, that's actually a good fish.
Just like taking the mound and making that baseball dream come true.
Not every kid gets to go be a Lake Travis pitcher and pitch at the high school level and continue their career into college. So I think that the Lord's blessed me in that way of giving me those opportunities.
Well, coming up with Father's Day just around the corner, it's all about Dad. We have a special guest back in studio to help satisfy that sweet tooth with chocolate. Stick around.
High temperature and 100-degree heat is starting to invade the state as we look at our highs. On your Sunday, lots of sunshine. We're not talking about too much rain. If we get any, it would be off towards our north and east. Otherwise, we will continue to see lots of clarity for the most part into our skies. As we look at your Monday, we are going to see the hundreds spread a little bit more and then take over this week. I have your complete outlook coming up.
The strength of Texas is in its many voices and unique perspectives. Every Sunday, join host Carla Leal on In Focus Texas. Education, economy, immigration, and more. Balanced and respectful discussion of the serious matters impacting Texas from experts across the state.
We take a closer look at the issues in your community.
In Focus Texas, Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Spectrum News 1. Available on all your favorite devices.
Millions of small business owners, like Leanna Lynn, choose Spectrum Business.
Spectrum Business services are essential to our business.
Choose Spectrum Business for your business. Get fast, reliable internet starting at $49.99 a month. And the Spectrum Business Connect phone system with video conferencing for $19.99 a month to get a free mobile line for 1 year. No nonsense. Just business.
I cannot live without it.
Visit spectrum.com/business or call 866-524-1116 today.
What if you had to choose between fixing the roof over your head and putting food on the table? What if that leak led to mold growing in your home? What if you no longer had a safe place to call home? help rebuilding together make repairs for our neighbors who have lost jobs and have to make those difficult choices. Text REBUILD to 484848.
We are connected, engaged, from the moment we rise. We move. We adjust. We learn, explore, relax, and grow together so we're ready to build a better tomorrow. Stay informed throughout your day with the Spectrum News app, exclusively for Spectrum customers.
Hi, welcome back. A photographer in South Texas is shining a light on everyday heroes in her community. Jose Arredondo shows us why these stories mean so much.
Women's stories are often overlooked, not preserved properly, and sometimes erased. But there's one woman in San Antonio who's using music, photojournalism, and even art shows to preserve those stories.
Do you guys host family here? Do you have like barbecues and stuff?
Photojournalist Bria Woods always tries to capture folks in their natural element.
Where you don't have to look directly at me, you can just kind of talk, chat, hang out.
Right now she's capturing photos for a series called Where I Live, where folks in the community write their own stories to get published in the San Antonio Report, a non-profit news organization.
Most of our contributors for the series are women, and it really has been such a treat for me to not only meet other women in our community, but to be able to see San Antonio through their eyes.
Bria highlights women through personal projects like her annual photography series, the Her Story Project, where the theme was rest and what it meant to the 15 women that she photographed.
You know, women's stories often go overlooked, unnoticed. They don't get the same celebration as men's stories and men's contributions.
Mexican-American Studies professor Lisa Ramos agrees with Bria.
To get the recognition, we always have to remind those in charge, who are usually men, that we were there too, we contributed, and it's an ongoing battle.
Lisa says strides have been made, but that more needs to be done. She says her students feel validated when they learn about people who look like them.
Right, it could be your neighbor who did something that's amazing, inspiring.
Bria says that's why she highlights women who probably wouldn't get the recognition to begin with.
Yes, there are women out there that are doing great, but there's also women right here in our community. Like, success is local.
She's also calling attention through other mediums.
If you're just now tuning in, you are listening to Women in Jazz right here on KRTU 91.7 FM. My name is Bria Woods, and I'll be your host for the next hour.
Bria says this is necessary work that will live on for generations.
Also, like, there's so much power in someone using their own voice to tell their own story.
Well, just in time for Father's Day, we have master chocolatier Nicole Patel, owner of Delicia Chocolatier, back in studio to talk all about kinds of chocolate for dads. We've got 3 different collections here we want to show you. And again, you were here Easter, that smell, I love it. It's it's that real chocolate smell. So we've got 3 different, I guess we're going to say pairings. Okay?
Exactly.
We've got one for dad. This collection that goes great with coffee. Tell me about it.
Exactly. That is our coffee collection. It has Kona coffee infused into a rich dark chocolate, so nice and decadent. It also has a cappuccino and a mocha truffle. The beauty of pairing chocolate and coffee together is they both grow in what's called the bean belt region of the world.
Right.
So 30 degrees north and south of the equator is where cacao and coffee grow. So they have the same terroir, the same
caffeine,
same caffeine level, exactly, the same you know, flavor profiles from the earth. And when you blend coffee and chocolate together, you get the most decadent, rich tasting experience ever. And it just heightens the flavors.
That's what I'm doing now, this chocolate. Have my coffee to go with it.
And when you're pairing coffees and chocolates or pairing any beverage with food, you definitely want to taste the coffee first, taste the chocolate, so that you know how they pair together.
Oh, coffee first.
And then try them together. So I always tell people, take a little bite. As soon as chocolate starts to melt on your palate, take a sip of your coffee and see what happens.
Gotcha. Okay, that's great.
A little education in there for you.
I love it. I'm learning a lot. So this collection here.
That is our gentleman's collection, which is perfect for Father's Day. We also have a gentleman's gift box with the chocolate cigars and our spirits collection in it. But our gentleman's collection is one of my absolute favorites. It features our cigar truffle, which is that bottom row. That is the first truffle we ever won an award for, a gold medal at the Texas Chocolate Festival.
Really?
Very delicate flavors, a little bit of smokiness, a little bit of tingle from the tobacco right at the start, and then you kind of feel it on the back of the throat as the chocolate melts. It's beautiful with your favorite whiskey.
Great. So we got, this is the gentleman's collection. Next to it,
in addition to that box, or included in that box, is also our dark chocolate and our Scotch flavor truffles, and then we have our Texas Hill Country collection, which is a nod to the flavors of Texas. When I moved to Texas as a teenager, I was amazed by just the vast culinary delights that we had here, and so that's featured in this box. A bourbon pecan truffle, smoked salts in a barbecue pit. Have your bourbon from Garrison Brothers, and a deep, rich dark chocolate with caramel, a honey chipotle, and then a Mexican mole. So all wonderful to pair with a sweet bourbon or your favorite whiskeys.
Right, which we have here. So,
which you have here, yes.
Well, that's great. Lessons learned, I appreciate it. And again, the smell is fantastic. You can check out her website for more on these delectables. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching Spectrum News 1. We'll see you again soon.
We have one mission, and that is to serve our community.
And that's what we're doing here in Dallas-Fort Worth, is we're covering people's stories. We're telling a person's story in a way that's relatable to who they are.
It's my responsibility to know the issues here in Texas, but also, more importantly, to know who it affects.
We want to make sure that you know what's going on in politics and weather and entertainment. You're going to get storytelling about the Dallas-Fort Worth community. Your evening on Spectrum News 1. Weeknights starting at 5 p.m. Central.
They say the best things in life are free.
That's why Spectrum Mobile is giving you one free mobile line when you buy one unlimited line for $29.99.
Hey, so I can get two lines for the price of one? That's right, for just $29.99.
Switch to Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for $29.99 a month and get a second unlimited line free for 12 months with no contracts. Call 1-844-537-2999. Visit spectrum.com/getconnected or Spectrum Store today.
It's the best deal in mobile.
Free mobile sounds good, but is the service reliable?
Absolutely. Spectrum Mobile is super reliable, coast to coast.
Okay, but what's the catch?
Is it contracts?
No contracts, no catch.
Get one line for $29.99 and the second line is free.
All with no taxes or hidden fees.
Whew. Man, I'm switching to Spectrum. You said?
Switch to Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for $29.99 a month and get a second unlimited line free for 12 months. Call 1-844-537-2999.
Get the best deal in mobile. Switch to Spectrum.
Please welcome tonight's presentation.
When I grow up. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck.
I don't want to borrow a lot for an education.
And then not know what to do with it. When I grow up, I don't want to be paid less. I want to know how to provide for my family. And invest in my community. When I grow up,